Hey gang, I am in Mount Carroll, Illinois, a farming community that's located in the far, far northwest side of the state. And we are standing here right at the property of a company called the Consolidated Grain and Barge Company. And it is here where there was a horrific accident that happened back in 2010 in one of these grain elevators, the one you're looking at right here. Now what happened was, 3 boys climbed to the top of that. They were workers here. They were not trained. And they climbed up 4 stories. I mean, this grain elevator is 54 feet wide in diameter, holds 250,000 bushels of grain. And they went up there and they went inside. And those 3 boys, of those 3 boys, only one of them came out alive, barely. So we're going to go to the cemetery right now, and we'll pay respects. I want to give a shout out to Donald Netzel, one of our viewers who alerted me to this story. Thank you, Donald. Again, he's had a couple. So let's go to the cemetery and pay our respects to the 2 boys. All right, we are approaching Oak Hill Cemetery here on the left. Beautiful little town here, very historic as it turns out. And we are in. We're in. It was July 28th, 2010. And it was a very, very, very hot day. Very hot July day. Sweltering hot. There was a boy, his name was Wyatt. Wyatt Whitebread. He was 14 years old and living in town here. Like any teenage boy, was looking to make some money. Summer job. Got a job at the grain company. Reported for duty, $8 an hour. Supervisor said, get up in that bin, take a shovel and a pick, go up to the top inside, start chipping away. There's some damp corn clumps in there that's clogging things up. Well, it's just hardened at the top. 3 other boys went with them, the 4 of them. What they didn't know is they were going into the death trap. It was especially dangerous, because as it turned out later, they found out, I guess the corn on top was wet and clumpy, but the corn below was dry. Let me tell you something I know firsthand. If that's shell corn, which I believe it was, that's like quicksand. I've got a whiskey barrel up north with little tiny holes at the bottom, and that shell corn comes out like water. So he sent them in there to do the nasty job. Can you imagine on a day like that, hot and sweltering? Not surprising, it didn't take too long before young Wyatt started to get dizzy and he passed out. Of course, he wasn't wearing a safety harness like he should have been. He didn't know. He was following orders. And there were other safety precautions not followed, no surprise. You know, it's all about making money, these companies, like other stories we've told. So these boys are in there, and it may have been that they broke through to the dry stuff below, but it was like a whirlpool of quicksand, sucking them, not just Wyatt, the other boys too. They were all in there flailing for their lives. They were screaming at him. Even though they were going down, they were trying to save him. And Christopher Christopher, one of the boys, and the boys' names, I'll give you the boys' names. There was Christopher Lawton, 15, Alejandro Alex Pakis, 19, and a boy named Will Piper, a young man of 20 years old. And Christopher he went for help. While the other boys were flailing. They didn't know what to do. I mean, they're going down in quicksand. They've never had this experience before. No rope to grab onto. So it was really getting bad. Now Alex had also gone under. So we had Wyatt under, gone, disappeared. We had Alex has now disappeared. Will was up to his chin. And he remained very, very still. That's what they tell you, right? In quicksand, don't move. Don't panic. He was very tall and slender. And somehow he kept his head above. However, you can imagine below all that pressure. I don't know if you imagine the pressure, but they say it's about 400 pounds of pressure for every foot in height surrounding him, squeezing his chest, his body, like a vice. Now, word had finally gotten to the ground crew and a worker below. I guess he had the grain door open, which is surprising. I guess they were trying to move the grain, but he closed the door. And the rescue workers did come very quickly, but they knew that they were probably headed for a body recovery rather than a rescue mission. Because, as it turns out, this was not uncommon. And I'm not sure about today, but I mean, that's only 12 years ago or so. This was happening all the time, all over the country, which is shocking. So they knew, and from what I understand, they basically came and they had to cut the bottom of the whole unit open, and all that corn spilled out with the bodies. Can you imagine? It all just spilled out with the bodies. And Alex and Wyatt were dead. It's the grave of a young child, passed in 1985. Patrick did not make it to even a year, it looks like. So many kids lost for fire trucks. Yeah, they were both dead, unfortunately. We have a flag down. It looks like the lawnmower may have run this over. I'm not sure if we can even... Yeah, I guess we could fix it. Lowell Keim, or Keim, U.S. Navy, 1928, so that is a World War II veteran. Here's another grave we'll stop by. Benjamin. We're very close to Wyatt's grave, but this caught my eye. Benjamin Clark, 1990 to 2013. I see a cat. He must have loved cats. Beloved son and brother. What a great picture. Looks like it was taken yesterday. It shows you how how short life is. Well, the family obviously the families were completely devastated by this. I mean, you can't even imagine. And of course, they took the company to court. They sued. The company was at fault. And in the end, it was just over, I believe, $17 million that the two families were awarded. I believe the Piper family got 800 or some thousand. You know, the one boy who did barely survive, and the other two split the rest. This is Wyatt's grave right here. Wyatt R. Whitebread. August 3rd, 1995. July 28th, 2010. Faithful day. A lot of things here for him. A lot of turtles. I guess he must have loved turtles. Loved baseball. And interestingly, there is a saxophone here. Little saxophone. Rest in peace, Wyatt. And we're going to head over to Alex's grave right now. Alex is buried right down yonder, down this hill here. Let's go. Here we come to Alex's grave. Nicknamed Paco. Beautiful stone, granite stone, with some pictures etched. Great pictures. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. John 3:16. Let's take a closer look at the picture. Try to get out of the glare. There we go. So young. Playing the guitar. Let's take a look at the other side. Alex Alejandro Guillermo Oscar Romero Pakis. November 28th, 1990, July 28th, 2010. Faithful day. I see a lot of frisbees here. Is this golf frisbee? These look like those little ones. The little discs. Disc craft. So close up of the picture. So get out of the glare here. Well, there's a lot of love put into this, as with Wyatt, his stone. They got the money, they've got millions, but that doesn't help much. I think it's more punishment. It's more punishment against those companies. It's interesting that since 1964, 1,156 workers have perished this way. 200 of them were teenagers. That's very shocking for me to hear. It's really a bad way to go. They did not have a chance. And then after all of that, putting the parents through that, the courts and the lawsuits, Jonathan Sandoz, who was general counsel for Consolidated Grain and Barge Company back then, he said that they had planned to appeal the verdict. I don't know what happened, but I think they lost, and I think that's pathetic that that company would do that. I think that company should be not in business today. I think the owners should go to jail. They should have. I don't know if there's new owners there, but this is how it works sometimes. Many times, corporations, people run like rats from responsibility, and I'm sure they're still here or around, living their lives. They basically murdered these boys. It's not right. Rest in peace, Alex, and rest in peace, Wyatt. Rest in peace.